Captain's log, Galactic date 7392.6. Operation Digital Conquest is finally underway. Captain Zorn T'vek leaned back in his command chair aboard the Vl'nar stealth vessel Silent Harbinger, drumming his 3 long fingers against the armrest. The subtle hum of quantum engines barely registered in the background as his ship maintained orbit around the primitive blue-green world the locals called Earth. After 3 cycles of surveillance, Zorn continued, speaking into his personal recorder, "We've determined that humans are, without question, the most absurdly dependent species we've encountered. They've integrated their technology into every aspect of their existence, yet understand perhaps 2% of how it actually functions." His first officer, Lieutenant Nix, approached with a datapad. "Captain, the infiltration team reports successful penetration of what the humans call the Internet. We've gained access to their primary information networks with 0 resistance." Zorn snorted. "Magnificent. The most complicated part was deciphering their ridiculous security protocols. They protect their most sensitive data with things called passwords that are often just the names of their offspring followed by the current solar cycle number. Should we begin extracting their military specifications?" asked Nix, her bioluminescent facial markings pulsing with anticipation. "No," Zorn replied, rising from his chair to gaze at the planet through the view screen. "Grand Admiral Kixx wants something more elegant. This is why we've spent years studying their communication patterns. We're not here to conquer Earth through brute force. That's so last millennium." Zorn walked to the holo display, activating a 3-dimensional representation of Earth's digital infrastructure. It resembled a glowing web spanning the planet, with particularly bright nodes representing major data centers. "The humans have created something remarkable here, a global network through which they share information, conduct commerce, and increasingly, store their identities. Their dependence on this system is their greatest vulnerability." He gestured dramatically. "We're going to hack humanity itself." Lieutenant Nix looked puzzled. "Sir?" "Think, Nix. Why destroy a civilization when you can reprogram it? Our goal is to inject specialized code into their network. Within days, every connected human device will subtly influence its users' decisions, redirecting resources to benefit the Vl'nar Imperium. They'll never notice the external control. They'll believe every decision is their own." Nix's eyes widened. "That's diabolically brilliant, Captain." "Indeed. Conquest without firing a single plasma burst. And the Imperium gets 6 billion new productive citizens who don't even realize they're serving us." Zorn smiled, revealing rows of needle-like teeth. "Now, patch me through to our cyber warfare specialist." The main view screen shifted to display a Vl'nar technician surrounded by floating holographic interfaces covered in code. "Specialist Vira, report," barked Zorn. The technician jumped, nearly dropping her neural interface probe. "Captain, we've successfully mapped their primary information pathways and identified their most influential platforms. The humans call them social media, a fascinating psychological manipulation tools they've built for themselves." "Excellent. Begin the infiltration sequence. I want full penetration of their network infrastructure within 12 Earth hours." "Yes, Captain. Though there is one strange anomaly we've detected." Vira's voice carried a note of confusion. "Explain." "Well, sir, there's this recurring pattern in their data. A specific sequence that appears constantly across their networks. It's some kind of cultural reference point involving someone named Rick Astley and the concept of never giving up or letting down." Zorn waved dismissively. "Irrelevant human nonsense. Focus on the mission parameters." "Of course, Captain." The screen returned to its view of Earth, peaceful and unaware of the digital invasion beginning to unfold. Meanwhile, in a nondescript office building in Arlington, Virginia, Samantha Sam Parker stared at her monitor, her coffee growing cold beside her keyboard. "You've got to be kidding me," she muttered, watching bizarre patterns emerge in her data visualization. As the lead analyst for the Cyber Anomaly Detection Division of a three-letter agency that technically didn't exist, she'd seen plenty of strange network behavior. But nothing like this. Her colleague, Marcus Washington, rolled his chair over. "What's up? You look like you've seen a digital ghost." "Maybe I have," Sam replied, not taking her eyes off the screen. "Look at this traffic pattern. It's wrong. Not human." Marcus leaned in, his brow furrowing. "Isham. No normal bot behavior I've ever seen. No typical attack signature either." "Exactly." Sam pulled up additional screens. "Whatever this is, it's learning our systems, adapting in real time. And it's everywhere. Social platforms, banking networks, infrastructure controls, but it's just watching, gathering data." "Foreign state actor?" Sam shook her head. "No, the movement patterns are too alien." Marcus laughed. "Come on, Sam, aliens? Really?" "I didn't say that," she replied defensively, though the thought had crossed her mind. "But whoever's behind this has technology we haven't seen before." She reached for her secure phone. "I'm calling Director Hughes. This needs to go up the chain. Now." 3 hours later, Sam found herself in a secure briefing room with 6 people who collectively had enough security clearance to launch nuclear weapons. Director Hughes, a stern woman in her 60s with silver hair cut in a practical bob, led the discussion. "MS Parker, walk us through what you're seeing." Sam nodded, bringing up her data on the main screen. "At 0347 this morning, our systems detected an intrusion unlike anything previously cataloged. The entity isn't attacking our infrastructure, it's mapping it with remarkable efficiency. It's learning how our digital ecosystem functions, how information flows, how humans interact with technology." A general with more stars than Sam cared to count leaned forward. "Are we talking about an AI?" "No, sir. Whatever this is, it thinks differently. An AI follows patterns based on its training. This entity experiments. It makes intuitive leaps. It's sentient." The room fell silent. "And your recommendation, MS Parker?" Director Hughes finally asked. Sam took a deep breath. "We can't stop it. It's already too deeply embedded. But we might be able to mislead it." "How so?" A slow smile spread across Sam's face. "By showing our visitor the weirdest, most confusing aspects of human internet culture. If it's trying to understand us through our digital footprint, let's make sure it gets the strangest possible picture." Director Hughes looked skeptical. "You want to confuse an advanced cyber entity with memes?" "Not just any memes, Director. The most powerful weapon in our digital arsenal." Sam's fingers flew across her keyboard, pulling up an image of a particular 1980s British pop star. "We're going to Rickroll them on a global scale." On the silent harbinger, specialist virus confusion was growing by the minute. "Captain, I'm detecting a strange shift in the humans' network behavior. They seem to be redirecting us." Zorn frowned. "Impossible. They can't have detected our presence." "Nevertheless, our infiltration routines are being rerouted. Every time we attempt to access a critical system, we're diverted to this same data packet." She displayed the content on the main view screen. A human male with peculiar reddish head fur appeared, accompanied by primitive audio vibrations. "Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down." Zorn covered his auditory receptors. "What in the 7 moons is this abomination?" Nix winced. "It appears to be some form of human mating ritual display, Captain." "Make it stop." Vira frantically worked her controls. "I'm trying, sir, but it's embedded in our systems now. Our own algorithms keep replicating it, thinking it's important data." The music continued, filling the bridge with its relentlessly upbeat rhythm. Never gonna run around and desert you. Zorn slammed his fist on his command console. Override. Purge all infiltration systems. I can't, sir. The song is spreading through our entire network. It's in the ship's systems now. The lights on the bridge began pulsing in rhythm with the music. Display screens throughout the ship all showed the same human, dancing in what Zorn could only assume was some form of psychological warfare. Never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye. Shut down all connections to the human networks. Full system reboot. Zorn shouted over the blaring music. The music is in our quantum entanglement communicators, sir. It's being transmitted back to the homeworld. Nix's voice rose to a panic. Zorn stared in horror as emergency indicators began flashing across his command console. What's happening now? The homeworld reports similar infections in their systems, sir. The song is spreading exponentially through the Imperial network. Zorn collapsed into his command chair, watching helplessly as the primitive human continued his relentless dance on every screen. How? How could they have known? How could they have defeated us with this? As if in answer, a text message appeared across the main view screen. Greetings from Earth. Welcome to the internet. You just got Rickrolled. For the first time in his distinguished military career, Captain Zorn T'vek of the mighty Vl'nar Imperium felt something unfamiliar: embarrassment. And somewhere in Arlington, Virginia, Samantha Parker smiled as she watched the alien probe systems frantically try to escape the most infamous internet prank in human history. Sometimes the best defense wasn't advanced technology or military might. Sometimes it was just pure, unadulterated human weirdness. The alien invasion had only just begun, but humanity had fired the first shot. And it was a doozy. This is a declaration of war. Grand Admiral Kixex's holographic form towered over the bridge of the Silent Harbinger, his rage manifesting as fluctuations in the projection stability. You allowed primitive bipeds to compromise our most advanced cyber warfare systems with a rhythmic audio-visual sequence? Captain Zorn T'vek stood at attention, though his posture betrayed his exhaustion. 3 full rotations had passed since the catastrophic Rickroll incident, and neither he nor his crew had experienced proper rest cycles. Every time they closed their eyes, that infernal tune played in their minds. Grand Admiral, with all due respect, these humans are not the technological infants our intelligence suggested. They detected our presence and deployed countermeasures with remarkable speed. Countermeasures. Kixex spat the word. You call this a countermeasure? The hologram gestured, and suddenly Rick Astley's unmistakable dance moves filled the bridge again. Never gonna give you up. Men Gamzia. Terminate display. Zorn shouted, and the image vanished, but not before several bridge officers visibly flinched. Kixex's hologram returned, his facial tendrils writhing with disgust. Our finest quantum programmers report that this Rick Astley has infected 62% of the Imperial network. The military communications are compromised. Planetary defense systems are randomly broadcasting the audio portion at unpredictable intervals. 3 orbital platforms have synchronized their rotation to the rhythm. Zorn swallowed hard. We're working on a purge protocol, Admiral. Not good enough. The High Council is demanding answers. Some are even suggesting that this Rickroll contains subliminal mind control elements. The Admiral's voice dropped to a whisper. Chancellor Vex attempted to deliver a speech to the Imperial Assembly yesterday. Instead, he performed what analysts have identified as the dance moves from the human transmission. For 7 minutes. Lieutenant Nix, standing beside her captain, failed to suppress a snort of laughter, quickly disguised as a cough. The Admiral's eyes narrowed. You find our strategic disadvantage amusing, Lieutenant? No, sir. Absolutely not, sir. Nix straightened immediately. Respiratory malfunction, sir. Kixix's attention returned to Zorn. Captain, your mission parameters have changed. You will no longer attempt digital infiltration of the human networks. We're abandoning the operation. Zorn asked, surprised. No, you're going to capture the one called Rick Astley. Zorn blinked all three of his eyelids in succession. Admiral, our psycho-tactical division believes that this human possesses unique properties that make his audio-visual output so persistent. We must study him, extract his secrets, perhaps even weaponize this Rickroll technology for our own purposes. But sir, our analysis indicates this recording is from nearly 4 decades ago in human chronology. The subject may no longer. I don't care if you have to extract him from their primitive timeline. Kixix thundered. Find this human. That's an order, Captain. The hologram disappeared, leaving the bridge in uncomfortable silence. Zorn turned to Nix. Well, Lieutenant, it seems we have a new mission. Locate this Rick Astley creature. Yes, sir. Nix hesitated, though our cultural database indicates he's not actually a creature of significance. Just a random entertainment provider who created this one particularly sticky information packet. Nevertheless, we have our orders. Zorn sighed deeply. Prepare a stealth extraction team. We're going planet-side. Sam Parker was enjoying her first proper sleep in days when her secure phone buzzed. She groped blindly for it, squinting at the screen. Parker, she mumbled. They're back, came Marcus's voice, all business despite the 3:27 a.m. timestamp. And they've changed tactics. Sam sat up, instantly alert. What are they doing? They're searching for something. Or someone. Every facial recognition system on the planet is being quietly pinged with the same search parameters. Who are they looking for? That's the thing, Marcus replied, his voice carrying a note of disbelief. They're looking for Rick Astley. Sam was fully awake now, already pulling on clothes with her free hand. Current Rick or 1987 Rick? Both, apparently. They're hitting everything DMV databases, passport records, social media profiles. They really want to find this guy. Well, that's both hilarious and concerning, Sam said, grabbing her keys. I'm heading in. Alert the director. Already done. And Sam? Yeah? I think we just made some aliens really, really mad. In a modest home in Cambridge, England, Richard Paul Astley, known to millions as Rick, was enjoying a cup of morning tea when his phone rang. The caller ID showed a number he didn't recognize. Hello? Worry. Bo I should. Mr. Astley, said an official-sounding voice. This is Agent Thompson with Interpol. I need you to listen carefully. Are you alone? Rick frowned. Yes, my wife's out shopping. What's this about? Sir, we have reason to believe you may be in danger. A car is already on its way to your location. Please pack a small bag and be ready to leave in 15 minutes. Is this some kind of joke? Rick asked, though something in the agent's tone told him it wasn't. I assure you, Mr. Astley, this is not a joke. In fact, it's about your song. Which one? Rick asked, though he already knew the answer. Never gonna give you up, the agent replied. It seems your most famous work has attracted some unexpected attention. Zorn adjusted his holographic human disguise, scowling at his reflection in the transport pod's mirror. The skin-colored projection flickered occasionally, revealing glimpses of his true purple epidermis beneath. This is undignified, he muttered to Nix, who was similarly disguised beside him. The mighty Vl'nar reduced to wearing the forms of hairless primates. At least you got a tall one, Nix complained. Her holographic avatar was that of a short, middle-aged human female with what the database identified as a bob cut. And why are we physically going to this planet anyway? Couldn't we just abduct the target from orbit? You read the same reports I did, Zorn replied. Something about this planet interferes with our normal teleportation technology. Too much electromagnetic noise. We need to get close. Their transport pod, disguised as a black SUV with diplomatic plates, pulled up outside a well-maintained home in Canaan. This is the residence of the target according to Human Information Networks, reported the driver. Excellent. Maintain position and be prepared for rapid extraction. Zorn checked the unusual weapon at his side, a modified neural disruptor set to render the target unconscious without causing permanent damage. Let's move quickly. In and out before their authorities can respond. The two disguised aliens approached the front door. Zorn raised his hand to what humans called a doorbell, but before he could press it, the door swung open. A human male stood there, bag in hand, looking resigned rather than surprised. You're not Interpol, are you? Rick Astley said calmly. Zorn's holographic face attempted to smile, resulting in an unsettling grimace. No, but you will come with us, Rick Astley. Rick glanced between the two obviously fake humans. You know, in 40 years of show business, this is definitely a first. Before either alien could respond, the street erupted with activity. Black SUVs, real ones, screeched to a halt at both ends of the block. Armed personnel and tactical gear deployed with practiced efficiency. Federal agents, hands in the air. Step away from Mr. Astley. Zorn's hand moved toward his concealed weapon, but Nix grabbed his arm. Captain, we're outnumbered. The mission is compromised. A familiar voice called out from behind the line of agents. I'd listen to your friend if I were you, Captain Zorn T'vek of the Vl'nar Imperium. Samantha Parker stepped forward, flanked by Marcus and several heavily armed agents. How do you know my name? Zorn demanded, his holographic disguise flickering with his agitation. Sam smiled. Let's just say your cybersecurity is about as good as your taste in music. She gestured toward Rick Astley. Mr. Astley, if you'd please step this way. Rick, who had been watching the standoff with remarkable composure, nodded and moved toward Sam's position. You know, he said conversationally as he passed the aliens, you could have just sent an email asking for an autograph. Zorn hissed in frustration as his quarry escaped, his holographic disguise failing completely to reveal his true form. Gasps arose from the gathered agents, but Sam didn't flinch. Yes, everyone, they're aliens. Debriefing later. Focus on the job now. She turned back to Zorn. I suggest you return to your ship, Captain. This operation is over. You think you've won, human? Zorn snarled. This is merely one failed mission. The Vl'nar Imperium spans galaxies. We have resources you can't imagine. And yet, Sam replied evenly, you got defeated by a pop song from the 1980s. Not a great look for an advanced civilization, is it? Nix tugged urgently at Zorn's arm. Captain, incoming planetary defense aircraft. The distant sound of fighter jets grew louder. This isn't over, Zorn growled, activating his emergency teleport beacon. In a flash of light that left the humans blinking, the aliens vanished. 1 week later, Sam sat across from Rick Astley in a secure facility somewhere in the Nevada desert. The pop star seemed remarkably unfazed by the whole experience. So let me get this straight, Rick said, sipping his tea. Aliens tried to hack Earth's internet, you rickrolled them, and now their entire civilization has my song stuck in their heads? That's the simplified version. Yes, Sam replied with a smile. Their infiltration attempt gave us access to their systems. We've been monitoring their communications. Apparently, the song has become what they call a thought virus. Their scientists can't figure out why it's so catchy. Rick laughed. If I knew the answer to that, I'd have had a lot more hits. Marcus entered the room, tablet in hand. Update from the observatory network. The alien vessel has left Earth orbit and appears to be heading out of the solar system. Good riddance, Sam said. Actually, Marcus continued, there's more. We've intercepted and decoded some of their final transmissions. It seems the Imperial High Council has declared Earth a quarantine planet, too dangerous to approach. Because of our military capability? Rick asked. Marcus grinned. No, because of our psychological warfare technology. They think Rickrolling is just the tip of the iceberg. They're terrified of what other earworms we might deploy. The three of them burst into laughter. So I saved the world? Rick asked, eyes twinkling with amusement. In a manner of speaking, Sam acknowledged, though we'd appreciate if you kept this classified. Aliens defeated by 80s pop star isn't exactly the headline we want. My lips are sealed, Rick promised. Though I must say, after all these years of people thinking of the song as just a prank, it's nice to know it finally served a higher purpose. As if on cue, Sam's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and groaned. What is it? Marcus asked. The president wants to give Rick here a classified Medal of Honor, and she scrolled through the message. Apparently Area 51 has been rickrolling their captive aliens for decades as a containment protocol. She looked up. That part's probably a joke. I hope. Light years away, Captain Zorn T'vek stood before the Imperial High Council, completing his mission report. And so, esteemed counselors, I recommend a full quarantine of the Sol system. These humans possess mimetic weapons of unexpected potency. Chancellor Vex, still recovering from his embarrassing dance episode, nodded gravely. The Council concurs, Captain. All Vl'nar vessels are hereby ordered to maintain a minimum safe distance of 10 light years from Earth. A wise decision, Chancellor. As Zorn turned to leave the council chamber, a junior officer approached and handed him a data crystal. Urgent communication from Science Division, Captain. Zorn reviewed the message and felt his blood run cold. Chancellor, we have a new emergency, he shouted, rushing back to the council platform. Science Division reports the humans have deployed a secondary mimetic weapon into space. A probe containing information about their civilization, including hundreds of their audio-visual sequences. The council chamber erupted in panic. How many probes? Vex demanded. 2, launched decades ago. Voyager 1 and 2. They're headed into deep space as we speak. Chancellor Vex stood, silencing the chamber. May the cosmic ancestors help us all. The humans aren't just defending their world. His voice dropped to a horrified whisper. They're weaponizing the entire galaxy. As the council debated emergency containment protocols, Zorn slipped away to his private quarters. Once alone, he locked the door and activated his personal entertainment system. With a guilty glance over his shoulder, he queued up the now forbidden human transmission. As Rick Astley's voice filled his quarters, Zorn found himself swaying slightly to the rhythm. The humans were devious, dangerous, and completely unpredictable, but he had to admit, they created remarkably effective psychological weapons. Computer, he whispered, save file to personal archive. And increase volume by 20%. After all, know thy enemy, right? At least, that's what he told himself as his three-fingered hand began tapping in perfect time with the beat. Retriclod can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.